Hi, Alice. Alice, can you hear? Jay, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes,
Tessa, can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you. Good.
Good.
Alice, let's try Alice. All right.
I see a mute on Alice's screen.
Okay. Oh, I muted everyone.
Okay. Hi, I'm here.
Hey,
Perfect,
and we
perfect.
can hear you too.
I'm
Okay.
good.
How's
All
it
right,
going?
Angela. All right, where'd she go?
Hi, Beth.
Angela, you're on. Can you hear me? Charlie? There they go. Can you hear me? Angela? Yes? Well, they're muted. Okay.
Okay. And Beth, can you hear? Yeah, okay. Give it, Angela and Charlie, thumbs up if you can hear. Okay. All right, good. So, oh, here comes a couple more.
Yep. Do you need me to stay on this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can you allow Jay to share a screen?
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
wait, I have to, here we go, manage participants. I'm gonna make you a co-host,
Got it.
a host, co-host.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay, so Jay, you can put up songs as we go.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just keep me queued up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we know that we've been doing a healing service once a month for years, actually, and Cantor Jay has gotten to lead it a couple of times, and we've gotten to lead it together once before. So, this is an opportunity for us to do it, and I think we're going to do it more often than once a month over these next several weeks. So. Probably weekly, but you guys can give us feedback if you think we should do something different. But it's an opportunity for us to say the healing prayers for those whom we know by name and those around the world who are in need of healing. And I know that we know people now, that I'm not sure if everyone on the call does, but certainly some of us know people by name who are dealing with the coronavirus. So we want to say a healing prayer for all of those folks as we go along. So we're going to use the service that we typically use, make a few concessions to the fact that we're not together in the same room and don't all have access to the text. So I'll read a few of the poems that we often do, and Cantor Jay is going to sing some of the songs and potentially put the lyrics up onto the screen so that you can see them and sing along. We do have you all muted, and you should stay that way for the singing. You can always unmute during the talking, but during the singing, what we discovered the other night is that if you sing any louder than Cantor Jay, you take over the screen. So, so we really want to encourage everyone to sing along in your own homes, in your own places. We'll see your mouths moving, but we'll hear and heal through the words of Cantor Jay. So we're going to start with a song by Debbie Friedman, which is Lechi Lach, which is about blessing for everybody near and far on all of the journeys that we're on, even these journeys inside our own homes, right? And so let's join in Lechi Lach.
To a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Let me love. Let me laugh, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi to the place that I will show you. L'simchatai, 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 lechila.
And I can just imagine that you're all singing beautifully with Cantor Jay, and lovely harmonies abound. I have to say that I put myself on mute and then sang louder than I ever have with you, Jay, because no one can hear me, so I can sing as loud as I want. So,
Sing out. Sing
yeah,
out.
so I encourage you all to do the same wherever you are. So we continue with a poem by Rabbi Harold Schulweis. Adonai, teacher of prayer, open your lips within me, for I cannot speak. Send me words to help me shape your praise, to bring peace and blessing to my days. Too often the world has stifled words of blessing within me. So much has threatened to break my spirit. Help me, Adonai, for I've been so very low, and you heal the broken in spirit and joy. In your compassion, in your boundless love, give me words of prayer, then accept them from me. May my words, your words, be sweet and hold before you as the words of King David, sweet singer of psalms. I am so often weary, empty, dry. In thirst, in hunger, I seek comfort, even joy. Transform my sorrow, Adonai. Help me to renew my faith, my hopes, as I raise my soul toward you. Open your lips within me, Adonai, that I might speak your praises. And so we have a couple of prayers that come from the daily liturgy. The first is a prayer for our body, and then the second is a prayer for our soul. And traditionally we say these every morning, and particularly at times like this, as we are dealing with a health crisis, health crises of our own and of those whom we love and care about. We say a prayer for the miracle of our body, the miracle of our soul within. So the blessing for our body says, "Blessed are you, our eternal God, creator of the universe, who has made our bodies in wisdom, creating openings, arteries, glands, and organs, marvelous in structure, intricate in design. Should one of them, by being blocked or opened, fail to function, it would be difficult to stand before you. We praise you, O God, healer of all flesh, working wonders." And we'll sing the Elohai Neshama, the prayer for our souls, which tells us that the soul that God gave us is pure. You've created it, formed it, breathed it into me. You preserve it within me. You will one day take it from me. But as long as my soul is within, I make acknowledgement before you, my God and God of all generations. Blessed are you, God, who restores my soul each day, that I may once again awaken.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Ata verata
אתה יצרת, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה נשמרה בקרבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה שנתת בי טהוראי.
Oh, my Creator, my soul's compassion, my heart's precious friend, I turn to you. I need to close out the noise, to rise above the noise that interrupts, the noise that separates, the noise that isolates. I need to hear you again. In the silence of my innermost being, in the fragments of my yearned for wholeness, I hear whispers of your presence, echoes of the past when you were with me, when I felt your nearness, when together we walked, when you held me close, embraced me in your love, laughed with me in my joy. I yearn to hear you again. In your oneness, I find healing. In the promise of your love, I am soothed. In your wholeness, I too can become whole again. Please listen to my call. Help me find the words. Help me find the strength within. Help me shape my mouth, my voice, my heart, so that I can direct my spirit and find you in prayer. In words only my heart can speak. In songs only my soul can sing. Lifting my eyes and heart to you. Adonai sifatai tiftach. Open my lips, precious God, so that I can speak with you again. We'll pause for a moment of private prayer and meditation, and opportunity to try and shut off the noise. Even home alone, right? There's a different kind of noise. It's the noise, the noisy mind, right? The noise within us. And so the idea is to kind of turn off that inner voice and listen for God's voice instead. So if the idea of meditation is to think about nothing, so we're going to take a minute to try and get to that pre-verbal place, that spot where we're not thinking, we're just feeling God's presence. We're feeling our prayers. As we pause for a moment of prayer and meditation. A song of inner peace, Oseh Shalom. May God who makes peace above, make peace in our world, make peace in our hearts.
Oseh Shalom Nimroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Danny Siegel wrote a poem, "Praised be the Lord of imperfection. Your flaws are everywhere. In the elm's unbalanced foliage, in the asymmetric faces of your creatures. You form the ripping floods that tear the forests and bend tornadoes in a twisted dance. The lion is blotched with age and mud, and the Shabbos silverware lies stained as a reminder. Praised be your Torah of scratches and scars. Praised be your discolorations, for they are puzzles and poems of your sacred character." We're going to sing Shema, and when we've done this in the healing service, we do it in a slightly different way than we usually do it at services, although I know some of you are familiar with doing it this way in other places. It's a chance really to use our breathing. So we're going to do each word as one breath. And then we breathe again and sing the next word. And so this has the opportunity to slow down our breathing a little bit, which in turn lowers our blood pressure. So it's good for us to sing Shema and make it a little strange, a little less familiar. It's the same melody, just slowed way down. So Cantor Jay, will you lead us in Shema?
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Now that we're calm, reasonably so, take a moment for Torah study and say the blessing for Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. This week we study the very first portion of the third book of Torah. We're beginning the book of Leviticus, the book of Vayikra. Vayikra is filled with laws of sacrifice. But what I'd really like to talk about is the very first word of the book is Vayikra, which is how it gets its name, which means to come close or draw near. In this case, it's Moses and the priests drawing near to God. So here we are talking about drawing near in a moment when we have to be separated. But the interesting thing about the way this is written in the Torah scroll is that in every Torah scroll all around the world, Vayikra is written in a very peculiar and particular way. The last letter is an aleph, and in every Torah scroll everywhere, that last aleph is smaller than all the other words around it. So, and that it's not a good enough answer to say that once upon a time the scribe made a mistake and made the aleph too small, or had the words too close together and so had to make the aleph fit, right? That doesn't work in the world of Torah study. right? This can't just be an error that's been preserved for thousands and thousands of years. So instead, that small aleph has to mean something. And so over the centuries, some interpretations have come up, but I'd like to share one with you that comes from a great Hasidic teacher of the 19th century, Rabbi Simcha Bunim, who lived in Przucha. And Simcha Bunim says that this little aleph is a reminder of the humility of Moshe, of Moses. That Moses, who even though he was the leader of the people and he's just finished creating this remarkable tabernacle along with all of the people in the desert, he never thought too much of himself. His I, right, as in the article I, was always like the E. E. Cummings poem. It was always a lowercase I, right? There's no lowercase and uppercase in Hebrew. So the way to show that small I for Moses is a small aleph, which is the first letter of the word ani, which means I in Hebrew. So Moses becomes the person who models for us humility. And that's actually, in our Lev Learning program, I think that's our value for the month coming up in April, is the value of humility. And I think perhaps in moments like this, when we can't help but recognize that there's something much, much bigger than we are, right? That we're not the center of creation, it's perhaps valuable to look back at Moses, who accomplished so much and did so many things in his lifetime and led the people for so many years, and yet always saw that his aleph was small, that his ani was just a piece of a much larger puzzle. In a way, when I don't know that you guys see the view that I see, which is that I see everybody's camera who's on, everybody who's on this call. And there's a kind of a mosaic quality to that, not the Moses mosaic, that's, forgive the pun, but a mosaic quality of all of us joined together, it's called. So each one of us is a small I, but together we're something much greater than that. Together we are capable of great things, even stopping a plague, which is what we are required to do in these days and weeks. So we remember the model of Moses, who also stopped plagues in his lifetime. And so we learn to use our small aleph for good throughout our lives. Can you hear Ratzon? May this be God's will. Amen. We're going to turn to the healing prayer itself. So Debbie Friedman's arrangement of the healing prayer, Misha Berach. Cantor J, got it?
Yes. Here we go. Mishebeirach Hamotenu Bekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach Imotenu Mekor Abracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of
Spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May it be your will, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, that the scourge of disease soon disappear. May those afflicted know only strength and wholeness. May their families, lovers, and loved ones know words of comfort. May their faces never forget how to form smiles. May their thoughts abound in dreams. May their hearts know only to hope. This prayer for healing comes from our daily liturgy from the Amidah. Refa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, Hosheinu v'nevasher, v'ha'alei refuah shlema l'kol makotenu, Baruch atah Adonai rofeh ha'cholim. Heal us, O God, and we shall be healed. Help us and save us, and grant healing to all who are stricken. Praised are you, O God, eternal healer of the universe.
Amen.
There are some traditions that we have in our regular healing service that we aren't really able to share tonight, but one that we do each time we get together, and I want to try and share it with those of you who are on the call. There's, I see about a dozen screens, something like that. So we usually pass around a basket with some fragrant spices in it and give people a chance to give a sniff to the things that smell good and to share something good in your life, something that may have happened in the last week or two that you can share. So I believe you can unmute yourself. If not, perhaps Vanessa can unmute all of us. And we'll try to just give everybody a turn. I could call on you by name, but maybe just let's see how it goes if we don't do that. Just listen to each other, give a little space and see. So anyone who'd like to, please feel free to check in and give us something sweet from what's going on in your life.
Well, I will. This is Judith Golden, and I have something sweet to smell. Being home in my house is not usual for me. I'm usually out running around between work and choir rehearsals or whatever. So having time at home with my husband, who usually travels during the week, cooking and eating dinner together, taking walks in the neighborhood has been sweet. And I've learned about a sidewalk chalk bandit that lives in my neighborhood. Walking around with sidewalk chalk and putting smiley faces or hearts or sunshines on the sidewalk or on people's driveways. And personally, it's been very uplifting to me. And I got to meet her. She's this little girl, maybe 6 years old. So that's particularly sweet.
Why don't we just do chalk back here? Hi, this is Alice Cohn. I hope you can all hear me.
Yep.
I have a group of women friends that I play mahjong with, and we haven't been able to get together. And so one of the women started a text chain, remember when? And we went on for a long time. I think it was maybe a half hour. Then people had to go and do various things, but it was a time of reminiscing, sharing experiences that we all, similar things that we all did when we grew up, and just a lot of humor. So that was a really nice activity that I had this week that I wouldn't have normally had.
It's lovely.
Oh, Rabbi, I think you should know that when Hobbs heard your voice, he came over and jumped up on my lap.
Oh my gosh. I went dog sat for Hobbs, so he recognizes me. Okay, it's nice.
I have a couple of things that I'd like to share. It's Beth, and one thing, I've been taking walks every day outside, and typically at this time of year it's freezing, and I go to the rec center of Highland Park and I walk the track, walk around, and I've been going to Fort Sheridan, and I see families together with young kids, teenagers, and the teenagers would not be with the families, I think, taking walks normally, but it's very, very sweet, very heartening. And the other thing I want to say is that I received a telephone call from a board member this week, and maybe some of you also have, and I just thought that was incredible. I felt like it was so meaningful being called by a member of Solel, Lakeside, Makom Solel Lakeside, and I really appreciated that. I know it was a lot to do to call everybody in the congregation, but nice touch, so thank you. Toda raba.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
Oh, yeah, Sarah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's been a good chance to catch up with out-of-town friends and family. I was able to FaceTime for the first time with an old college friend of mine, my best friend from college, who actually works at NASA. She's a solar physicist there. And she had just adopted a cat about 2 months ago, and she had named it Corona after the sun. But now it's taken on a whole other meaning.
Wow.
And I got to see her cat, Corona, which is a really pretty, very furry, shaggy tabby cat, and caught up with her, an old friend. And so there's been more time to call elderly relatives and friends and make sure they're okay and really have good conversations with them.
Thank
So
you.
that's something sweet.
Yeah.
My son, oops,
Yeah, you're
My
on.
my son and daughter-in-law send me pictures via Facebook or via FaceTime of my 2 granddaughters who are in Chicago. And it's such a joy to connect with them. In some ways, it's easier because they're focused on the camera and I'm focused on them. And it's just a joy. It's just such a joy to know they're there and that I love them and they love me. We shared carrots. I chewed some virtually. And then one of my granddaughters complained that she didn't have enough giraffes, cookie giraffes. And I said, that will be okay. You'll get more. And she did. So it's just a wonderful experience to connect that way and to be more directly, it's a very odd thing, to be more directly connected via Facebook than we're all kind of sitting around, running around, and trying to get people's attention. So in some ways, this has been a blessing. I will be thrilled to see all my grandchildren again. But right now, this has proved to be rather a blessing.
That's lovely.
Yeah, just reconnecting with a lot of friends just feels like back in my childhood kind of simplicity. Eating every night, taking walks after dinner, talking to friends. It's strangely bringing us all back to being human.
I can just tell you how meaningful it's been to us. I don't want to speak for Ken or Jay, but I think I can a little bit. That in all these different social media platforms that we've been on, that so many of you have come and joined us, and that's just been a source of joy and inspiration as this week has gone on. So. We'll do it as long as we need to do it, and maybe even after we're done, we may have stumbled onto some things that are very useful and helpful for people. So we'll keep going.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll turn back to a poem that we usually share the reading of it, but this week we won't. I'll read it, but perhaps we'll figure out a way to put it up like the music on the screen in future weeks. But it's a poem by Rabbi Harold Schulweis, and it'll serve as kind of our introduction to the Kaddish. It's called It's Never Too Late. The last word has not been spoken. The last sentence has not been written. The final verdict is not in. It is never too late to change my mind, my direction, to say no to the past and yes to the future, to offer remorse, to ask and give forgiveness. It is never too late to start over again, to feel again, to love again, to hope again. It is never too late to overcome despair, to turn sorrow into resolve and pain into purpose. It is never too late to alter my world, not by magic incantations or manipulations of the cards or deciphering the stars, but by opening myself to curative forces buried within, to hidden energies, the powers in my interior self. In sickness and in dying, it is never too late. Living, I teach. Dying, I teach. How I face pain and fear. Others observe me, children, adults, students of life and death, learn from my bearing, my posture, my philosophy. It is never too late. Some word of mine, some touch may be remembered. Some gesture may play a role beyond the last movement of my head and hand. Write it on my epitaph, that my loved ones be consoled. It is never too late. And so we'll turn to the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. We're certainly thinking of those who died in recent days and weeks of this horrific coronavirus, all those others who've died of other causes during this time, those who are still dying in acts of violence around the world. We're thinking too of those whom we've loved and lost, our relatives and friends in recent days and weeks and months. We pray for coming of God's peace with the words of the Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dachol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'alamo olme olmaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu, leilo min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbehata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mramah. Huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Our closing song is another Debbie Friedman song. It's Tefillah Taderech, which is a song that we sing when people are on their way to different places. I encourage you to mute yourselves again, because as I mentioned at the beginning, if you sing louder than Cantor J, you'll take over the screen. So I definitely invite you to mute, as I will mute
Sounds so
myself.
egotistical when like that.
Yeah, it's our small Aleph at work, put yourself on mute. And so it's a song we sing to people when they're going on a journey, but the journey isn't always a physical journey. We are, all of us, throughout our lives, on a spiritual journey as well. We're on a journey within our own space. And so we say this prayer of blessing for our own individual journeys, our journey together as a community.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. And may this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. And may we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. And may this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'et kol ha'olam b'shalom. May God give strength to us, to our people and all people. May God bless us and all people with peace. Let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Erev Tov, everybody. A good evening to you. And I think our next broadcast, Vanessa, is tomorrow afternoon. Rabbi Evan Moffat will be teaching, continuing his series on, I think, modern Jewish thought, 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Right.
Is
And
that
if
right?
hopefully you have a link. If you don't, if you need any help, please email me at V as in Vanessa, Ehrlich, EHRLICH, at mymakom.org. I have 2 young adults. Well, you all are on Zoom, so you don't need the tutorial. But if you have friends who need to get on, just let me know. And a couple of things, well, I have you 14 people here and more, probably, 20. We're not going to be live streaming anymore because we don't go into the building. So it'll either be a link to a Zoom meeting or a link to a Zoom webinar. You just have to press the link like you did today. And we have a lot of things in store for you. Yasher Koach to Rabbi and Cantor. And it's great seeing everyone's faces. Great.
Thank you all very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Good night.